Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers, sovereign thinkers. It's LL3's News Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangoes of South Florida. And today's date, Wednesday, August 22nd, 2018. So let us begin. Yeah, I say why not do another show for fun. Get inspired once in a while. However, I'm a little bit more in a better mood. I'm just kicking back. Nice little breeze for the month of August. Warm earlier. It was like 90 degrees down here. But you know what? This is how it goes. However, I am podcasting at Zambini's Bottega, located at 510 Southeast 5th Avenue in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, along the New River. Opens from 8:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. And just pretty cool, pretty cool. Right in this condo complex. It's not far from the Vinette Carroll Theater. So if you know what I'm talking about. And if you're going to check it out, there's Italian food, juice bar, smoothies, wine bar, etc. And it looks like you got real good reviews. There's a chat with one of the workers here. They've been up for 8 months now and doing good. I'd like to see the mom and pop facilities do well. The only way to get the economy going is support local businesses. Because I see some of the local businesses around the area has been shutting down, and it doesn't look that pretty. So yeah, for more information, you can check it out at 754-206-4131. Tell them Craig sent you. I just met a couple people today who work there. So it's a good place. The reviews here are real nice. And hey, like I said, support the little guys. You won't be disappointed. Yeah, so I decided to do another episode today, which is all well and good. And I noticed too, there's like some journalists got arrested in Louisiana for their anti-protest law because they're putting a pipeline through the bayou. That's a nice place to put a pipeline, right? How astute, as usual. So we're gonna be, I won't be talking about that today, but going to intercept.com and look it up. And they're decent guys. I'm not gonna knock them. They got some good articles in there. So as always, independent journalism is being under attack. We have to keep pushing it. Okay, that's what freedom of the press is about. Because look what's going on with the social media censorship and all that. Tech giants trying to tell us what to say, who we can listen to, but no, it's your choice. That's why I'm doing the show, because I support I'm pro free speech and try to give the information the best I can in multiple avenues. So this one here will be pretty brief, but you know what? It's all well and good. Just in that mood. So we're gonna start off here, and this is one's pretty controversial, and this is mainly from the FloridaBulldog.org, good site to check out. Nonpartisan, independent website. It says here, despite disaster risk, train hauls hazardous gas cargo in South Florida. And this came out today by Ann Hedson Feltgen. And as it reads here, about the same time, Florida East Coast Railway, or FEC, executives were convincing Florida's East Coast cities and counties to back its idea of privately owned passenger trains traversing downtowns and densely populated neighborhoods. It quietly sought and won permission to haul extremely flammable liquefied natural gas along the same tracks. Liquefied natural gas, LNG, is a hazardous material that had never been transported by railroad in the continental United States, according to the Federal Railroad Administration, which provides permits for LNG transportation. The FEC began transporting LNG for profit last year. In South Florida, that includes tracks from its affiliated Hialeah Rail Yard LNG supply terminal in Medley to Port of Miami and to Port Everglades for commercial export. Some of the track is used by Brightline, the intercity passenger railroad operated by FEC subsidiary All Aboard Florida. Look at that, a little bit of a network here, connect the dots, right? In the first 6 months of 2018, FEC transported 148.7 million cubic feet of LNG from Hialeah Yard to Port Everglades bound for Grand Bahamas or Barbados, according to the U.S. Department of Energy records. No LNG was shipped out of Port of Miami during the same period. Fred Millar, an Arlington, Virginia-based chemical disaster expert and independent consultant, is appalled that the federal government is allowing FEC to transport LNG along the east coast of Florida. The disaster risk with LNG is considered a high-risk situation that has never been allowed to happen until now, said Millar. People are being kept in the dark about this enormous risk. A vapor cloud could travel a couple of miles and someone starts their car and the whole place blows up. Some people will die before they can get out. Federal Railroad Administrator spokeswoman Desiree French, however, said that the FEC has been safely transporting LNG shipments over a year and has no issues with any of the shipments. FEC's regulatory approval allow it to transport LNG over its entire system, including 351 miles of mainland track from Miami to Jacksonville. French also noted that LNG has been moved safely for decades by trucks and ships in thermal-like intermodal portable tanks. From a surface transportation standpoint, hazardous materials moving by rail are statistically much safer than moving the material by highway, she said. Chilled natural gas, liquefied natural gas, is just what the name suggests. Natural gas that has been chilled to a minus 260 degrees Fahrenheit, at which temperature it becomes a liquid. The liquid is pumped into a specialized temporary cryogenic containers that kept it chilled and stable when stored or transported. LNG is regarded as a cleaner, more efficient fuel that's both environmentally friendly and widely available. It can be warmed to make natural gas used for cooking and heating or to generate electricity. LNG is also cheaper than diesel and can fuel both some locomotives and cruise ships. Last year, FEC converted its 24 locomotive fleet to LNG. The downside is what happens if an LNG container is punctured during the shipment. In December 2015, Martin County Fire Rescue conducted a vulnerability analysis of FEC's transportation of LNG. It used Environmental Protection Agency software to predict what could happen on a typical afternoon if a train crash punctured a 4-inch hole in a single LNG container that led to an explosion. If an accident occurred at an intersection of tracks at Southeast Cove Road and Southeast Dixie Highway in Stewart, 2,410 people will be affected. Fire Rescue Chief Dan Wilders said in a PowerPoint presentation to the County Commission of total that nearly 400 would experience life-threatening injuries or death. That's just based on a 10,000-gallon container. Okay, red zone, orange zone, and yellow zone. And the threats, can go further to 817 yards. So you can say a good 2,500 feet, right? Estimate, a little under 2,500 feet. So, we'll continue on here. As such a nightmare scenario has gone unexamined by first responders farther south. A spokesman for Broward County Emergency Management said it has not made its own assessment of the impact of a disastrous LNG accident. Miami-Dade County Emergency Manager does not appear to have addressed the issue either. The authorities there did not return phone calls seeking comment. Booming LNG market. LNG, predominantly methane, as a byproduct of fracking. Railroads are hoping to fill the gap left by declining transport of coal and oil, as well as the booming market for LNG. The primary markets for LNG are Caribbean countries, India, China, and Japan. LNG is shipped from plant to ports where the containers are loaded on freighters for its final voyage. While the gas is non-toxic, a spill or puncture of a container during the train derailment can be deadly. The liquid expands rapidly. When it vaporizes, it can burst into flames when it hits the air. It burns at extremely high temperatures and cannot be extinguished, according to a report to Congress from 2004. The proposed transportation of LNG by rail is a new opportunity for railroads and a new challenge for safety regulators, stated Carl Axley, staff director on the Federal Railroad Administration's Hazardous Material Division in 2017. We know any release of LNG in a non-controlled environment is dangerous, but the transportation of large quantities of LNG is a single train present unique safety risk. And to go on here, an FEC spokesman declined to be interviewed about the production or transportation of LNG at the direction of his new owner, the Mexican transportation firm Grupo Mexico Transportes. FEC began shipments of LNG soon after receiving a March 13, 2017 letter of authorization from the railroad agency. Last November, FEC touted its success in Jacksonville at an annual industry convention that pushes natural gas as a cost-saving as a solution to high horsepower equipment operators. FEC began to explore additional opportunities about the transportation of LNG as a commodity. The trade publication Railway Age reported the railway is currently moving LNG containers between New Fortress Energy's liquefaction plant in Hialeah, the Port of Miami, and Port Everglades. Now, New Fortress is a subsidiary of Fortress Investment Group, LLC, the parent company of FEC, and Allboard Florida, which operates a Brightline passenger service that currently runs from Miami to Fort Lauderdale and West Palm Beach. Company wants to extend the service to Orlando. It's like one big happy family. We are family. It's like thinking the Sister Sledge song here, okay? FEC records submitted to the Federal Railroad Administration state that the 15-mile trip from the Hialeah Yard to Port of Miami passes through areas with an average population of 9,500 per square mile. The 28 miles of track from Hialeah Yard to Port Everglades have been an average of 9,150 per square mile. Rigorous safety procedures. FEC maintains rigorous safety procedures when transporting LNG that include head-hardened, continuous welded rail, concrete ties, defect detectors, and automatic train control, ATC technology, which prevents train-to-train collisions on the rail network. Still, not everyone's convinced that it is safe to transport LNG by rail. Indian River County Commissioner Bob Soleri wrote to the Transportation Administration in 2016 inquiring about the safety of transporting LNG by rail. He received a patent-ahead reply that safety is the agency's top priority. Martin County Fire Rescue conducted a safety study in 2015. When compared to propane, LNG is much safer, said Martin County's Router. However, Router said if a train derailed it and a car carried LNG ruptured, the odorless and lighter than air gas would form a vapor cloud with potentially deadly explosions. Martin County report examined a trio of accident scenarios showing how people in various zones around the crash site could be affected. The risk is greatest to those closest to the train and all the threat zones in nearly 1 mile in circumference, with the red or lethal zone nearly a quarter of a mile surrounding an explosion. The analysis estimate that if an LNG car exploded next to a Southeast Cove Road and Southeast Dixie Highway in Stewart, it will kill or severely injure 396 people in 164 homes within the red zone, approximately 2 blocks around the blast. Another 521 people and 243 homes in the orange zone, which extends out another block in all directions, will suffer irreversible or other serious, long-lasting adverse health effects or an impaired ability to escape. The report says the 1,493 people in the yellow zone farthest from the blast point will experience notable discomfort, irritation, or sensory effects, but the effects are not disabling and are reversible. Vapor cloud. According to a risk, vapor cloud can travel up to 3 miles from the accident site, putting others in a danger of an explosion if the gas was ignited. The risk of an accident increases in areas where FEC shares tracks with Brightline passenger trains, which can travel up to 110 miles per hour. Freight trains typically travel 10 to 15 miles in a highly populated or congested area and 30 to 40 miles on long run miles per hour on long runs. Lower speed freight trains and high speed passengers trains will be on the same track. That increases likelihood of an accident, Router said. FEC joined an Alaskan pilot project on LNG transport begun in September 2016. The Alaska experiment was in a remote way from large cities and communities. In Florida, however, LNG runs on rails that bisect populous cities like Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and Jacksonville with frequent highway rail crossings. Millar, who has worked as a lobbyist and environmental advocate for Friends of the Earth, said there is a little oversight of LNG transport by rail and approvals happen with virtually no public debate. He said the Trump administration has overturned or gutted rules and laws that keep people safe. He suggests that communities take it upon themselves to ensure safety. In July, Reuters reported that U.S. Energy Secretary Rick Perry proposed reducing the lengthy public interest review process for granting export permits to a small-scale LNG producers. The small-scale review rule is now in the approvals process, according to Reuters. FEC has reported no incidents in shipping LNG, according to the Federal Railroad Administration. Conditions for approval. The Federal Railroad Administration's letter authorizing FEC to ship LNG contains a 10-point list of conditions, including a limit on the number of cars carrying LNG per train and how much liquid gas they can hold. Tracks and tankers must be inspected at least yearly, and all findings must be sent to the agency for review. Both shipper and the rail carrier have responsibilities to ensure safety and compliance with the hazardous materials regulations. The shipper must ensure that the material is packaged and prepared for transportation correctly, and the carrier must observe all appropriate handling requirements, said Railway Agency spokesman French. Failure to comply with these requirements could lead to civil or criminal penalties or both. Now, Fortress Energy operates the Hialeah Yard LNG production plant, plans to construct a similar small LNG plant nationwide, according to a July 2015 brochure. In Florida, the company wants to add a small LNG plant in Trudisville and is eyeing other proposed points for exporting, including ports in Palm Beach, Tampa, and Jacksonville. Looks like since they did that space program and NASA, the area of Trudisville is perfect. It's a lot more of a, heard a little bit more of a ghost town. I don't know about now. The Titusville plant is on hold. Rules governing the sitting of LNG plants require that maybe at least a mile from airports, schools, and hospitals. The proposed is 0.06 miles from an airport. FEC plunge into LNG transport expresses the vision of former CEO James Hertwig, who described his hope for commercial exploitation in 2015 briefing for stock analysts. As reported by American Shipper magazine, Hertwig noted the Caribbean's need for LNG due to the high cost of electricity. I think you'll see law change where you can slip LNG into the entire Caribbean. When that happens, we see hauling these 10,000 gallon ISO or intermodal containers double stacked to ports in Jacksonville, Everglades, or Miami, where they will be put on a vessel for export. Interesting. So some people are a little bit worried. Others know flying and driving around on the trucks is almost the same thing. The difference is there's a 10,000 gallon tank, and it plays the population of Martin County. So imagine if something will happen in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach along that track. It can be more of a effect. And the one thing about it, I noticed they're still building towers along the track. So that could be a burden to that whole area, including the Henderson District of Fort Lauderdale and many other places as well, including Palm Beach, everything else in between. Yes, it is a risk, and everyone has obligations. Like it or not, like some may like it, some are not. You're not going to appreciate everyone, and everyone's not going to say it's bad. This is how it is. It's everything's dangerous. It's like, hey, there's folks out there driving fuel, okay, on highways. Sometimes they tip, things explode too. So everything is got to be responsibly maintained, safely. Have to be responsibly maintained. So everyone has those obligations. All right, if the Department of Energy is not doing it, it should be focused on the state level. If the state really is concerned, it should work, and it can't just rely on the federal government either, because that's what we got the 10th Amendment for. But like I said, it's damn you, damn you don't. But everyone's gonna take that chance. So only thing I gotta say, find other solutions. The people themselves use other means of energy. Solar power is great. As long as we get the government out of our sights, we can be a lot more self-contained in these areas. So it's just one of those things. Take a chance. Damn you do, damn you don't, right? This is how it is. But one thing I gotta say, folks living near the tracks, you better know what's going through there, okay? Hey, including myself. I live in the area, so. Whew, all right. So, next one here, a little commentary, came from American Free Press, and this one's entitled Russian Witch Hunt Never Ends. And what's interesting, they say that the Mount Manford case and Cohen case is more like a coup. But this is interesting what it says here. And this is written by Phil Gallardi. I like what it says here. When mainstream is saying about Russia spy Maria Butina is fake news. And as he has to say here, I'm somewhat perplexed about the fear over alleged Russian spy Maria Butina, a 29-year-old Russian woman currently living in Washington, who was arrested 3 weeks ago and charged with conspiracy and acting as an agent of the Russian government, tasked with developing ties with American citizens and infiltrating certain political groups. She is reportedly being held in solitary confinement and not allowed bail as she is considered a flight risk. Ms. Butina, a student at American University and a co-founder of the pro-gun rights Russia advocacy organization Right to Bear Arms, is charged with operating under the direction of Alexander Torozhin, a high-level official close to President Vladimir Putin who currently works for the Russian Central Bank. Interesting, a pro-gun rights advocacy organization. Wow. And remember the so-called shills, okay, like James Comey and all these other clowns, they are not pro right to bear arms, okay? They rather have the government have more firepower than the people. Oh, we'll continue on here. According to the Justice Department, Torozhin was recently sanctioned by the U.S. Treasury Office of Foreign Assets Control over information provided by the Spanish government indicating that it has been involved in the past in money laundering, including charge which he denies. It is important to note that Torozhin is not an intelligence officer, nor has been accused of spying. He is a banker and so-called oligarch, admittedly with powerful political friends in Russia. And Ms. Butina was not acting as a spy nor as an intelligence officer seeking to obtain classified information or develop potential agents in the United States. She is operating completely openly to cultivate relationships in her area of interest and was not engaged in espionage in any traditional sense. She did not communicate secretly with Moscow, which is why the FBI was able to obtain her emails, and that's considered to be suspicious. Yes, the J. Edgar Hoover legacy lives on. Sieg Heil! Sieg Heil! Ms. Butina was actually charged with trying to recruit American citizens to act covertly on behalf of Russia to promote Moscow's international agenda, whatever that might be, though that was considerable innuendo in the court documents suggesting just that. She was caught sending emails, attending classes at college, and arguing to defend her homeland. And most of all, she was networking, which is completely legal even here in the post-9/11 United States, where basic rights have been vanishing on an almost daily basis. One might even describe her as a bit of a hustler. Nothing wrong with that. That old-fashioned expression for an opportunist working the circuit out the rich and powerful. When the 2016 election results came in, she exuberantly posted a message about the Trump victory on a Russian social media site saying, a supporter of the right to bear arms and restoration of relations with Russia. Congratulate everyone. How obscene. Ms. Butina, suspected of serving as a direct agent of the Russian government acting through Torozhin, allegedly was attempting to create relationships with right-wing elements in the U.S. She has actually only been charged with conspiracy relating to her claimed relationship with Torozhin and failed to register as a foreign agent. So if it's Israel, they give them the red carpet treatment. Yet if it was AIPAC, give them the red carpet treatment. But when it comes to someone like Miss Butina, crucify her. How lovely is that? Registration for individuals or groups acting on behalf of a foreign government is required under the Foreign Agents Registration Act of 1938, which is FFARA, acronym for that, FARA. The FBI apparently has obtained her email suggesting that she was taking direction from Torsion to do certain things that would enhance her profile with the National Rifle Association and other conservative groups that were allegedly being targeted. It's highly unusual to arrest anyone for violation of FARA, suggesting that the authorities are seeking to pressure Ms. Butina into revealing additional information that will ultimately demonstrate a grand Russian plot to infiltrate American institutions. The normal penalty being required under FARA is for that group or individual to register, sometimes after payment of a fine. Russian government media outlets, RT America and Sputnik News, were recently required to register and did so to comply with the Treasury Department demands. Meanwhile, ex-congressmen who go on to serve as agents for foreign governments as lobbyists have been known to violate FARA, and not one of them has ever been arrested in jail because they are shoe shiners, bend over bobs, and they were on their hands and knees and go, "Yes, master, may I have another?" And I'm being sarcastic here, please. I know that. In an event, it would be difficult to imagine why anyone would consider the NRA to be a legitimate intelligence target. It only flexes its admittedly powerful legislative muscles over issues relating to gun ownership, not regarding policy on Russia. And as for the Russian equivalent to the right to bear arms, I can personally testify that the group appears to be completely legitimate. I was in Moscow in December of 2015 speaking at a conference and noted the organization's gathering at a hotel for its own annual meeting. I might have even met Miss Butina and Torsion at that time after I wandered in and I spoke with a number of members, all of them whom appear to be personally engaged and completely legitimate, well able to examine the virtues of gun ownership in Russia. As I recall, I listened to an episode on that by Armed American Radio. Talked about this. Okay, they had actually do an interview about how to do the right to keep bear arms in Russia. So how come they didn't AAR didn't get shut down or get arrested? Come on, give me a break. This is how pathetic some of these clowns are. Guns, including Kalashnikov assault rifles, were on sale at the event. Russia does, in fact, have nearly 7 million registered gun owners. The process of obtaining a license is onerous, but it can be done at the right to bear arms is dedicated to making registration easier and guns more accessible. In short, Ms. Butina and by extension Torsion have done nothing wrong. Both are energetic advocates for the country and gun rights, which they appear to believe in. And Ms. Butina has broken no law except not registering, which in itself assumes that she is a Russian government agent, something that has not been demonstrated. But if you were involved with the with APAC, they'll give you the red carpet treatment and we'll all sing Kumbaya and go hallelujah, right? That's how hypocritical these bastards are. And I know I'm digressing. Forgive me on this. To put the shoe on their foot, every American now travels to Russia and engages in political conversations with local people be suspected of acting as an agent of the U.S. government? Once you open the door, it swings both ways. As always, hypocrisy in the U.S. case, which might reasonably be viewed as part of the current hysteria about Russia, is manifest. The nation of Israel has literally hundreds of paid lobbyists swarming all over Capitol Hill, pushing hard on issues being promoted by the government of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. How dare they have been anti-Semitic? Many of the objectives of the lobbying are damaging to the United States. Two include advocating war with Iran, but not a single one of those lobbyists or the Jewish groups they represent has ever been required to register with FARA. How exceptional, right? They're so special. But if you're a Russian and you are caught talking to anyone in any way influential, there's apparently hell to pay. You are automatically assumed to be part of a conspiracy. The irony is, of course, that Israelis and their American enablers really are part of the conspiracy to subvert America's government and institutions, and they get away with it, while the Russia agenda, if there is one, remain to be proven. Absolutely. That's what I call double standards. I pledge allegiance to Israel, even though I was elected servant to the United States of America, because I am a hypocrite and a bend over Bob to the Israeli government. Yes, an Uncle Tom or Aunt Jemima to their best interest. That's how you gotta look at it. And just to let you know, folks, I don't hate Jews or condemn Israel as a nation, but I'm very critical with their lobbyists and criminal elements in their government, just like everywhere else. Nothing new at all. But remember, whoever pulls down their pants most gets respect. That's just how these people are. We got a bunch of Uncle Toms and Aunt Jemimas in the FBI or in the federal government will belly up for them and condemn everyone else. Yes, Ku Klux Klan members in disguise, and I say that ethically speaking. So it just really turns me off. That's why this whole witch hunting of the Russian thing, Russia, and all you clowns out there that post on Facebook about the Russian connection, you are in the bizarro world, okay? In good faith. As all I hear about, I don't hear anyone have the audacity to criticize Israel. I don't know, a bunch of them I know do. But the ones that always be Trump folks that have Trump-anxiety or Trumpaholics out there that hate the man with a passion. They post this garbage over and over again. And you know what? I just gotta laugh, puke, or dial 911. Why? Because they're just beating a dead horse constantly and waiting for the thing to resurrect. You know what, my friends? If you still fall for that, you're in the twilight zone or into the eternal wet dream. So please do me a favor. Go start looking at the bigger picture and examine things more thoroughly before jumping on that her-conformed bandwagon, okay? And just to let you folks know one thing, I don't worship Trump. I don't say if he burns the Constitution, I'm going to say he's the most brilliant man out there. Please spare me. All right? So I do see a lot of doublespeak, and it's very unexceptional. And you know what's great, because this next one I'm going to be addressing, narrating here, came from Bob Livingston himself, BobLivingstonLetters.com/alert. The magical powers of political speech. And I'd say I'm just going to narrate this for you, and you make your own decisions. And it's a great quote. Political language is designed to make lies sound truthful and murder respectable, and to give an appearance of solidarity pure wind. George Orwell. I keep the above George Orwell quote near me at all times. It serves as a reminder to me to defer political speech wherever I see it or hear it. Political speech contains magical properties. It memorizes the masses because it's more illusory than a David Copperfield grand finale. But political speech is dangerous. While it sounds innocuous, it is as deadly as a bear trap hidden beneath the leaves of a siren singing her song. It can grab you suddenly, or it can ensnare you subtly. Either way, while you learn, too late that you have been conned and there is no escape. The magical political speech is not happenstance. There are change agents at work in the inner sanctums of power, whose job is to create special words and phrases that are used in political speech. Those words and phrases are repeated over and over by the elites in order to dumb us down and create a conditioned response. The process of dumbing down and the conditioning of the mind to create a nation of good, obedient subjects, loyal and subservient to political authority and to the legitimacy of the political order begins early. We are now several generations into a plan by the elites to create a nation of state-worshipping ignoramuses taught pseudo-history and incalculated with a loyalty to dependence upon big government. Big brother, we worship you, big brother. For many, if most not, of the nation's young people below the age of 30, government provides them with the most of their meals while the majority of their days were spent submitting to government authority figures, teachers, principals, school officers, in rigid structured environments that dissuade original thought. Also, aiding the elites and politicians in this effort is an army of journalists who never stray far from the official line of the state apparatus. They are eager to spread their lies and half-truths because that ensures them their seats near the halls of power. On that rare occasion, one of them strays too far from the party line. Retribution is swift and harsh. See Helen Thomas and Cheryl Atkinson. This discourages dissent. Politicians have learned that more lies they tell, the more lies we believe, and the more lies we believe, the more dependent we become. Conversely, the fewer myths, lies, and deceptions we succumb to, the less dependent we are, and therefore the more liberty we enjoy. I long ago learned the power of propaganda. I have watched as otherwise intelligent and thoughtful people have their minds so manipulated by political speech that they acted contrary to their own best interests without a second thought. It seems that organized and sophisticated propaganda is able to operate outside the threshold of intelligence. In other words, without some imperative to trigger inquiry, very intelligent people buys into lies and myths the same as the general population. These lies and myths then become conventional wisdom. The human mind rarely accepts a challenge to conventional wisdom. When it confronted with a challenge to the established belief system, the mind closes off. When this happens, the individual employs avoidance behavior, writes off the new knowledge as conspiracy theory, and labels it as kooky, insane, or stupid. The information is then dismissed, never to be considered again, even when the facts support the new knowledge. Psychologists call this quirk of human nature cognitive dissonance. It means a rejection of information not in harmony with previous beliefs. I pledge allegiance to Bizarro, our Lord and Savior. Assumptions, allegations are fact. Concrete evidence is null and void. Guilty till proven innocent. Amen. That's how far I'm going to go on that. The hysteric purpose of propaganda is to extract wealth and labor illegally as concealed involuntary servitude, or to steal the people's liberty right out from under them, and even have the populace to thank the thieves for doing so, especially if it's done under the guise of keeping the people safe, or to save the children, or some danger real or imagined. Those use propaganda to persuade the populace against their best interest, creates the myths and sells them as benefits. Do you remember what Jorge Bush has to say when he announced the war on terror? You with us or you with the terrorists? And all these clowns start applauding. Yay! I will give up my freedom for security to protect me. Because what happened on 9/11? They took advantage of our free society because you guys say so. That's a prime example, my friends. And that's why a lot of these individuals I asked, what did you learn from 9/11? And they give me a dumb look. I go, not a damn thing. I will continue on here. The elites also use distractions for this purpose. These distractions serve to draw the people's attention away from the important issues and focus it on the mundane and the trivial. Much as the illusionist uses sleight of hand, these distractions can be events that occur naturally or by chance, which are then seized upon by the elites. But sometimes the distractions are artificial creations, also called false flag events, designed and trigger for the specific purpose of refocusing the attention of the populace. Bill Clinton's bombing of the Sudanese aspirin factory at the time of his deposition, in the Paula Jones case, and at the peak of the Monica Lewinsky scandal is a prime example. See, they worry about someone having oral sex and bigger things happen. Ain't that nice? There is nothing lawmakers love more than making laws, even when they know their laws won't accomplish on their stated purpose. Hopefully you clowns in Florida, Flip-Flop Rick Scott, Farmer, and Moratis are listening to this, because this message is about you douchebags. I will continue on here. This is particularly true of those laws that take more authority for the state or they enrich the fascist system. For lawmakers, the unintended consequences of their laws are just like gravy because they lead to the passing of more laws to correct the unintended consequences. This, of course, leads to more unintended consequences and the passage of more laws. Last year, China's President Xi Jinping spoke to the assembled Communist Party apparatus for 3.5 hours, extolling the virtues of communism. According to the report, Xi waxed lyrical on a miscellany of themes from housing to Hong Kong, independence, soil erosion to the South China Sea, rural poverty to the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation, cybersecurity to corruption, Marxism to military modernization, global governance to global warming. He eventually turned morality and said that the Chinese people must foster values like loyalty, honesty, impartiality, double dealing, and the unprincipled nice guyism. Whatever that means, we're out. But of course, in the world of political speech, such Tommy rot as this is accepted as a great political philosophy and applauded by the sycophants and toadies, or cows. Moo! It's like George W. Bush and Barack Obama and even President Donald Trump. Just to give you a few examples, my friends. Can anyone see the hypocrisy? Certainly the Chinese communists can't, or at least they cannot acknowledge the publicity if they do. As the government reported the comments of the 203-minute long speech. It wasn't long. It was absolutely wonderful, beamed Wang Magnesia, a teacher from the Hebei province, one of the 2,280 Communist Party delegates attended this year's Congress. What an exciting speech, gushed Fu Chunli, a delegate from the far western region of Xinjiang. Such a good report, written into the hearts of 1.3 billion people. Yes, long but exciting, agreed Tang Jialing, a third emissary. I hope all party members like me can turn this blueprint into reality as soon as possible. Liao Zhanhua, a delegate from the Ministry of Finance, concurred, while Xi talked about standing tall and firm in the East. It made my blood stir, which goes and shows skilled politicians can make people applaud their own slavery and clamor for more. It works in America the same way. Just look at those running toward the democratic socialism of the political left. Just an example, my friend. So it's like that all walks of life. Doesn't matter what paradigm you're on. People that I support Israel, people go, yeah, I seen that too. I'm about to bring a cowbell to these campaigns and go, who let the cows out? Moo! Get some cowbells, just fling them around. Yes, God bless the herd conformity. That's what they say. Nothing more right out of everybody's just playbook propaganda. Want you to idolize these individuals. I don't go for that. I always question these things. That's always been my nature. And they can't stand someone like myself. I'm just an example. But one thing I got to say for sure, my friends, we're waking up. Whatever you do, please think for yourselves. Do your homework and see things in the bigger picture. Even if you want to read the Bible, what Jesus said about government, go ahead. I don't care if you believe him or not, but it has a real strong message. Don't say the Vatican and Christianity are the same. They're not. I'm not being anti-Catholic either. But when it comes to Vatican City, government, try to use God as governing ways to rule people is treacherous. Including the United Nations as well. We can go on and on and on. Government in Latin means control of the mind. I know many of you heard that say before, but the first timers, look it up. You won't be disappointed. And of course, Death by Government. Look that up too, by R.J. Rummel. And that is it. I'd like to thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share this throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or you send something that's interesting, whatever you do, please address your correspondence with decorum. Hit me at all the social media sites. I'm on WorldMX, by the way. .com. I think it's .com. Yeah, .org. One of those two. WorldMTX.org. Yeah, I'm on that. And I'm, like I said, I'm on a few areas. One thing I'm going to do, I'm going to probably put all those social media sites where I'm on my Spreaker page. So it'll be easy for you guys. So if I'll do that, probably be my next step for future reference. In addition, you can email me at lookingluck3@gmail.com. And for you cryptid ones, especially with the Proton Mail account, LookingLuck03@protonmail.com. Woo! All right, my friends. Once again, thank you for your time. But always remember that the demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves, keep on spreading love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.